You know what I was doing the other day? I was cleaning the cabinets. Yeah. And I found something. I found something very interesting. You know what it was? I'm going to tell you what it was. I believe I not discovered, but something that I found that was, way back in the cabinets. Actually, it was in an old coffee cup down at the bottom, Something I should have actually kept out, it's very useful. But it is one of the greatest inventions in all of human history. That's right. Um, there aren't many things in this world that work as advertised forever. And this item could possibly be one of those things that could work as advertised forever. I mean, there are ways that it can be destroyed. Why someone would go out of their way to destroy this particular object, I don't know. I mean, you got computers that crash. You got cars that just die, televisions, everything. The power just goes up, whatever, the motor inside of it. But look what I got right here. You might not even really be able to see it. I'll put a close-up picture of it for you. You know what that is? Plastic ice with a fly in it. Yeah. It's always going to work as you want it to. It's always going to do exactly what it was advertised to do. Plastic ice with a fly in it. That's technology that will never die. Right there. Like I said, there aren't many things that people make in this world that do what they're supposed to do forever. Maybe a trash can. Maybe a trash can might be one of the other ones, yeah. So look, go ahead, go clean out some cabinets. Maybe you'll find some plastic ice with a fly in it. Hey, Fritzy, yeah, I got something for you. Here you go. Go ahead. Now, what a
Plastic ice with a fly in it. Plastic ice with a fly in it. Ooh, ooh, oh.
What is this? What is this? How you doing, folks? Lame Schmull here. Coming to you from FEMA Region number 3. What are we going to talk about here on What is this? Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to say a very heartfelt thank you to one of the two personages who inspired the creation of this here Zeus Mushbender channel. Scotty Clark. You out there, Scotty? You better be watching this one here, Scotty. That's right. Did you tell Alan? How about it, Mr. Alan Horvath? What's that song? My favorite song. Doo 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 doo. Who do you say the Son of Man is? I love that song, Scotty. You got to tell Alan. I love that song. But anyway, I got to get on with it here. Scotty went ahead and he posted my most previous video on his Facebook page. Now, I am the self-proclaimed anti-Zuckerberg. He told me leave him a message and we'll talk sometime. I left a message. I don't know how Facebook works. I don't know. I put something up there. I'll show you what I did. But I want to thank Scotty for posting that, and I am honored and humbled that he's watching these videos that I am making here on the Zeus Mushbender channel. I know, Scotty, you're a great musician. I'd love for you one day to get together with Fritzy Mushbender, the younger brother of Zeus Mushbender, who refuses to be seen on camera. Zeus, he won't, well, that's a whole other video. But Fritzy, he records all the little audio pieces, music, whatever, manifestations, whatever you want to call them. Some of them are quite musical, like the one from this video here. I particularly like that one. One of these days, I believe, on the Zeus on the Loose, there's a Zeus on the Loose playlist on the channel. Go back and watch the Kafka-esque adventures of the Mossbender brothers. I believe there might be one coming up soon. Zeus hasn't done one for a while, but I believe that apparently Fritzy's been a little down in the dumps and something's going to be coming up soon. I don't know. I'm not setting dates. There you go, Scotty. Not setting dates. But there is a Zeus on the loose that should be coming up soon. But like I said, I want to thank Scotty Clark, his monumental work in putting together the information that we have on the Revelation 12, verse 1 sign. The woman clothed with the sun, with the moon at her feet, 12 stars at her head, in labor. Man, oh man. And since he's posted the video up on his page, my subscriptions went up like about 50, 60 people. I can't believe it. It's wonderful. And, like I don't know if I've ever said this, but I don't do Facebook or Twitter or Chitter or Chatter or whatever. No, none of that. I don't promote the channel, and neither does Zeus or any of us here. We put the video up and we let it go. We give it to Elohim. It is for Elohim to guide the people to the video. If they want to click, they can click. If they don't want to click, they don't have to click. I did a video a long time ago called the Fruity Spiders of 1952. I'll put a link up to that about talking about how if the people in 1952 could hear the things we're saying, click the mouse. Let's go Twitter. We're going to go Google. They'd smack us in the face, with a frying pan or something. One of them big cast iron frying pans. They cooked everything back in then. But I just want to say thank you to Scotty. And now I'm going to get on Vedic. All right, now, before I get on with the crux of this biscuit, I want to show Scotty that I sent him a message so he don't think I don't want to talk to him. Hey, look, like I said, I don't know how Facebook works. I don't know how the can opener works. But I sure know how to work plastic ice with a fly in it. There you go. There's your close-up. Allow me at this time to make something else clear. Earlier, when I was saying how I don't promote my channel and, I don't like Zuckerberg and all that, well, that's just me. So many, like Scotty, are taking what this Zuckerberg built and are using it to bring folks to Elohim. I personally have not been convicted to do Facebook or Twitter or Chitter or Chatter and all that stuff. But that does not mean that the Father will not put it on the hearts of others to make use of this technology for His glory. I mean, hey, we're on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. Are we not? Who owns YouTube? Google. Google, Facebook, tomato. The whole world's backwards. What are we going to do? And check this out. Miss Google here, remember her? Regina Dugan? She's now working for Facebook. So look at that. Check out that tandem of evil that's been thrust upon us. They've just come together. I gewalt, Regina Dugan and Sheryl Sandberg. That's a nightmare from hell. If the Harpies actually existed, there's two of them. Could you imagine having to go to work with them, or even worse, work for them? Are they not the literal fulfillment of those verses in Proverbs about how a contentious woman is like an annoying drip? Oh, better to live out in a desert than to be around such women. Aye, Elohim forbid. So I just want to make it clear that I wasn't trying to disparage anyone for being on Facebook, because Elohim is who we serve, not these worldly entities, which, by the way, belong to Elohim. You think Zuckerberg is running all this? Yeah, right. He'll be bowing the knee to Yeshua soon enough, my friends. Pray that he has his eyes opened before he's forced to do it. Okay, so there's where Scotty posted my video on his page, and down below a bit is the message I left. Well, I gotta be completely honest here. I asked my little Polish friend Shaul, that's the Hebrew Aramaic for Paul, I asked him to leave the message for me, and he wrote this. Hey, Scotty, greetings from the Zeus Mospenda channel. Zeus, Leben, and Fritzy, younger brother of Zeus. Say shalom. There are a whole cast of characters here at the channel, and everyone is waiting for the Netchatef. Maranatha. So there you go, my friend. There's your message. Now let me say something to anyone out there who may think I'm going overboard with this. People, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov worked through this man, this Scotty Clark, to confirm to me that the year 2017 was going to be very important, a very important year with regard to Bible prophecy. You see, I was saved in the year 1989. And in that very same year, I stood in the kitchen of my house with a dear, dear friend. In fact, my dearest friend outside of the immediate family. And he asked me directly, when would the very time of the end come? Now, before I tell you what came out of my mouth, I want you to look at this here scripture. Exodus chapter 4, verses 11 and 12. And Yahweh said to him, that is Moses, who has made man's mouth? Or who makes dumb, or deaf, or seeing, or blind? Is it not I, Yahweh? And now go, and I shall be with your mouth, and teach you what to say. Ha ha! Now, let me tell you something, people. Yahweh certainly fulfilled that scripture in my kitchen on that day in the year of 1989, late in that year. Because before I could even formulate a thought, I blurted out 2017. It shot out of my mouth faster than Jesse Owens off the block at the 1936 Olympics. 2017. And I had no idea why that year. I had no idea why, or a clue why I would say that year. This was 1989, and I had just started reading the scriptures, let alone understanding anything about the complexities of Bible prophecy. Oh my goodness, if I had had any notion at all of a woman clothed with the sun back in 1989, it would have been Anita Bryant doing an orange juice commercial. Showing my age there, huh? Well, friends, over all these years, I have learned the complexities of Bible prophecy. And 24 years later, 24 years after that day in my kitchen, I found out why, without a moment of hesitation, I blurted out the year 2017. It was in the spring of the year 2013 when Elohim led me to Scotty's channel where I saw that in 2017, September 23rd of 2017, the sign that we find in the first two verses of Revelation chapter 12 appears. I saw that Scotty was using Stellarium, so I downloaded it right away. The first star I consciously set out to know the name of was the first one I laid eyes on outside my house in that spring of 2013. And it was this star here, Spica, that just so happens to be the brightest star in the constellation of what? Virgo, the woman clothed with the sun. Friends, within less than 6 months, I started making these here videos. And smack that, this is the 135th. And let me tell you something. Without our Almighty Father leading me to Scotty's work, you may not be hearing my voice right about now. But you know what? That's a moot point, because you are hearing it. So there you are, my brother. And forgive me for my lack of social media savvy. I'm so old school. I prefer to stick to email. Send me an email, Scotty, and we'll talk, and we'll get on with it. And let me tell you something, my friend, your videos are certainly, as our friend Alan Horvath would say, a baracotomy. And I hope and I pray that my videos will continue to be a baracotta you. Moving on.
Boom, zidda dum boom, da ba dee ba day, zibby da ba dum da, boom, zidda dum ba dum boom.
Alright, so what is the crux of this here Bishki Leben? Well, let me tell you what prompted my first thought of making this here particular video. You see, I actually started this video on August the 31st when I saw a particular article online. But Elohim and other plans for my services between then and now. His timing, my friends, his timing. As I say, what prompted me to commence work at the end of the 8th month was because of an article that I saw, which in turn brought me to thinking about something I heard on the radio at the end of the 7th month. 7. This past July, that is. Well, I looked up what I heard, and it was this. Take a gander at that, my friends. Yes, I know. It's been a very, very long time since video cassette recording was state of the art. But seeing that, well, it gave me pause. Anyone over 50 looking at this ought to get a little pause. Let me tell you something, my friends. When I saw this, I could only think of one thing. We got definite paradigm shift activity on the horizon. Absolutely.
Say it again.
Absolutely.
Polly, put that kettle on.
Whew.
That was good.
Yes, it was. There's no doubt about it, my friends. Things are going to be changing big time, especially for those that are going to be dwelling on the earth when the Lamb begins opening them seals. Now, when I pulled this article up, it got me to thinking also about some other articles I'd seen throughout this past 9 months, all related to a degree, because they all had to do with how people occupy, how they occupy, regardless of whether it be for themselves or for the kingdom of Elohim. Now, I remember seeing this all the way back in January the 28th. To be exact. Is this not interesting? Is it not interesting who and what are the featured photos of this article here, this picture here? Why, looky, look. It's the King of Davos. What's that mean, Laban? What are you talking about? Well, I did a video 3 days before, three days 3 days before this article came out, called Prophecy Alert, Gog, Magog, and the King of Davos. And I talked about how Mr. Kevin Spacey was the talk of the 2016 World Economic Forum. You gotta go watch that video. I'll leave a link below. Also interesting, looky there, House of Cards. What's House of Cards all about, my friends? I believe it's about a very, very controversial presidential election. But you know, that's not the reason I was going. Read the headline. Comcast wants to limit your Netflix binges. Now there can only be one reason for that, my friends. People are getting rid of their cable and watching everything online. And then I see this. In less than 2 months, from March the 4th, 2016, Comcast, Netflix, and the what? The death of cable. Now let me tell you something, folks. I'm not just pulling these articles up for this video. I screen captured these articles on the very days that they hit the web. Take a look at this. Watch. All right, see, there's my file, Death of Cable. Now let's click on Properties here, and I'll show you when I created the file. There we are. Created Friday, March the 4th, 2016. There you go. Took care of that. All right, so VCRs, done, gone. And 6 months ago, we begin hearing the death knell for cable television. And while we got this pulled up, I'm going to show you something very, very interesting, my friends. Take a look at what the Dow closed at on that day, March 4th, 2016. 4 sevens. And while you're at it, check out the NASDAQ. All right, so what was the article that I saw that made me think about the demise of the VCR and the articles I was just showing you? Well, it was this. August 31st, 2016. Record number of people just canceled their pay TV subscriptions. There we go, my friends. 8 months later, we got confirmation. Cable's dying. And we got 4 sevens on the Dow. The day they announced it as a harbinger. The internet is going to start costing a lot more soon, people. I really think so. It has to. These cable companies got to make it up somehow. Everybody's watching stuff on the computer now. They're streaming everything. The internet might even become a utility like the way you have to pay your gas and electric bill. I'm sure you've already heard talk like that. But for some reason, friends, it was seeing that VCR article that really drove it home. For anyone over 50, like I was saying, we remember the days when we thought only the rich people would ever be able to afford one of those things. And then I remember when cable came along. No commercials. Not a one. Nada. Well, we know how that went, don't we? And now the VCR is a joke. And we are now witnessing the death of cable. 2017's coming, my friends. Oh, it's gonna be something. Gonna be something I don't even want to know. Things are going to change so rapidly. You see, friends, this is all leading to only one thing: the end of the external device. What are you talking about, Laban? Brothers and sisters, they got to find a way to get that mark inside of or on people. And the only way to do it is to limit their dependence on external devices, especially these. Yeah, right. There is no way that people are gonna, get rid of their devices, especially the young people. Look, did I say get rid of them? I didn't say that. I said they have to limit their dependence on them. That's what I said. Or perhaps they have to somehow become afraid of these devices or even bored of them. Maybe these companies have to find a way to somehow get people to want to get rid of them. Now you're really sounding crazy, Laban. I know it sounds crazy. I'm trying to get my mind around this myself. But everybody's doing everything they can with these phones. And yet you got people out there putting chips in themselves as well. They want it all. So for them, the greatest thing would be to have everything in a way that you wouldn't even have to carry something. You could open doors, get money from the ATM, check your own vital signs just by scanning your hand. But there's a hitch. There are millions of people who don't want a chip or something put on them or whatever. Whether or not they even believe in the mark of the beast, they don't want to be made to get it, regardless. They hate the idea. So somehow they have to be given no choice. Well, maybe one way would be like this. From September 9, 2016, US and Samsung tell Galaxy Note 7, 7 Galaxy Note 7 owners, power down now. Okay, yes, I know this is isolated to one specific model. All cell phones everywhere are not exploding. But all that has to happen is to gradually get it into people's heads that they could. Now, granted, there's always going to be a contingency out there who would buy them regardless if they exploded every day. Like the people who would still vote for Hillary Clinton if they got her on camera shooting a baby. There's always going to be them. Is it possible that these device makers got something really screwy up their sleeve? But why, Laban? Why? All these companies would lose money. Okay, hey, I said it before. I'm trying to get my brain around all this too. That is before Dr. Sergio Canavero tries to switch it up. Now you have to go and watch this video here to get the heads up on that. Sorry, what did you expect? If you want to learn more about Dr. Canavero, watch that video. I'll leave a link. Look, it's not just that phones could catch fire by overheating or whatever. What about this? From August 30th, 2016, Apple is being sued over the iPhone touch disease. Touch disease. Now, I don't even know exactly what that problem is, but it's certainly not exploding. It has something to do with faulty touch screens. The fact of the matter is this: somehow or another, these companies have to get more control over the masses. That is how the mark is going to become manifest. Okay, you're right. There is no way that these companies want to lose money. So then there is only one answer. Elohim is going to manifest it. Satan can only do what Elohim allows, somehow or another. Elohim will allow Satan to get it into their heads the best way he can. Get it into the heads of these CEOs that they must get on with getting on to the next level of technology. They will realize that these clunky phones are not the answer. They will use what appears to be setbacks to springboard into the next state-of-the-art developments, and thus bring about paradigm shift, if you will. Now, all this I'm saying right now is not set in stone. It can't necessarily be found in scripture or in prophecy. I mean, it could if we search far enough. Maybe we could. But I'm just trying to give you some idea of what I think might be going on here. But let me tell you this. Elohim, and this is the understatement of all understatements, Elohim will always have the upper hand, and these arrogant fools in these companies, well, they still hate it when something they made fails. They can't stand seeing their precious products fall apart. I mean, for one thing, there's just too many of these companies out there. Elohim has got to weed them out. Whittle them down the way old Jed Clampett used to do with that stick on Beverly Hillbillies. Talk about showing my age again. And friends, allow me to stop right here for 1 second. When I was looking up that picture of Jed Clampett, I found something that just proves how different this country has gotten over the last, 30, 40 years or so. Look at that. Do you realize that in this country there was at one time a product you could buy called Buddy Ebsen Says Howdy? Man. All right, back to what I was saying. There are just too many of these companies out there all over the place, But you know what? Let me tell you what. Sooner or later, there's only gonna be one company. That's right, Antichrist International. And it's all going perfectly on schedule, my friends. iPhone 7, Samsung Galaxy 7. Come on now. This is it, people. The product might be of Satan, but whose number is that? That's Elohim's number, my friends. Those stinking phones might be for the earth dwellers, but that number is a sign for us, a sign to show that it's time for Elohim to say, "Can you hear me now?" Look, it's Elohim that's using these companies, people. He can build them up, take them down, give them great success, and hand them colossal failures. But when all is said, it is the will of Elohim that has been done. I think our Almighty Father is having a little fun with our friends over at Apple lately. Check this out. Aside from this touch disease thing that's going on, they have had a bit of volatility with regard to the stock market. From April 28, 2016. One of Apple's biggest cheerleaders is selling. Apple's terrible week just got worse. Coral Icon, one of its biggest cheerleaders, has dumped the iPhone maker's stock. And so thus, on the very same day, we got this. Dow closes more than 200 points lower on Apple jitters. Apple jitters. Sounds like some kind of stupid cereal. And then, almost 4 months to the day, in the other month that starts with an A is for Apple, we got this. EU hits Apple with $14.6 billion tax bill. Look at him, is he praying? Who you praying to there, Cookie? Steve Jobs? That's August 30th, 2016, people, the same day that the Apple Touch disease story comes out. But are you ready for the next one? My brothers and sisters, this one's gonna make you want to go out and shout. Shout hallelujah to our Almighty Father. Now, some of you might already know this, but let's go back to the first month that starts with the A, but in a different year. The bicentennial year, 1976. On April 11th, 1976, Apple released its very first product, the Apple I personal computer. Its price? You ready for this? And this is no joke, people. $666.66. That's not a joke, that's real. 5 sixes. You got that, people? 5 6s. Now let's go back to April of 2016. April 29th, 2016. This headline appears, "Have we reached peak Apple?" Now take a look at what the Dow closed on that day. 1 7, 2 sevens, 3 sevens, 4 sevens, 5 sevens. Friends, remember this. Remember this above all else. Elohim is on the throne, and he is making use of all of these companies for his glory. He is making use of all of these companies that believe that they are their own masters. Take a look at this, my brothers and sisters, and you can shout again from September 21st, 2016. Scanning software deciphers ancient biblical scroll. Apparently, this 2,000-year-old scroll was just too brittle to be opened, but they developed this particular software where they don't have to open it. They can read it without opening it. And what they discovered was passages from the book of Leviticus. The article then goes on to quote Emmanuel Tove, Dead Sea Scroll scholar from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. He said this is quite amazing for us. In 2,000 years, this text has not changed. Friends, do you want to know who funded the development of this software? Software that can now be used to read biblical scrolls, too brittle to be opened, thus authenticating the living word of Elohim? Do you see, my friends, how Elohim is using the most worldly of companies to fulfill the prophecies that will usher in his kingdom? This article tells us that Google, of all companies, has just this very month brought about a more absolute understanding and fulfillment of this. But you, Daniel, roll up and seal the words of the scroll. Until the time of the end, many will go here and there to increase knowledge. Oh! And the first name of the author of this article? Friends, change is coming. Change is coming to this world beyond anything we can imagine. And there is nothing that any of these earth dwellers can do about it. Earlier, if you recall, I mentioned something about the younger generation becoming somehow afraid or even bored with the current state-of-the-art smartphone and overall social media at large. Perhaps they might even be sick of it. Oh, Leighton, how silly. How silly of you to say such a thing. The kids, they love their technology. They love it all. They love their phones. They love their Facebook. Oh, yeah? Well, take a glance at this. From September the 21st. This item here is short, but it's got a pretty tall message. Let's read this. Even the human voice of Siri thinks you should put down your smartphone. Amid increasing reports of smartphone fatigue, more people are giving up their devices, switching to a simple flip phone, or even buying the $10 no-phone Air, which is just a plastic case. Even the human voice of Siri is joining the chorus of naysayers. Susan Bennett, the voiceover actress, whose voice is familiar to hundreds of millions of iPhone users, tells the Wall Street Journal that people need to start putting down their smartphones. She explains, their minds are somewhere else, or they're staring at their phones. They don't know how to relate to other humans. Everybody is running around taking 15 million pictures of their own face. Preach it, Siri. It seems like only yesterday when she was telling us this.
It's Sunday, July 27th, 2014, opening gates of Hades.
Remember that? July 27, 2014, opening gates of Hades. Yeah, right. Now she's telling everybody shut the phones off. But it is this article in The Guardian, also from the 21st, that is extremely eye-opening. Does quitting social media make you happier? Yes! Say young people doing it. Teenagers and young adults switching off from Facebook and other social apps reveal how the change has affected their lives. Take a look at what some of these young people are saying. Daisy, 23. I feel less anxious and less like a failure. Facebook made me feel anxious, depressed, and like a failure. I could have told you that. George Lincoln, 17 years old. A lot of people aren't interested in Facebook anymore. Ho ho. Roseanne Cassidy, 25. I can live my life instead of trying to shape it into one that looks good online. And I love this one. Sophie, 18. I used to check for updates countless times a day. Now I'm free. Ha ha ha. I wonder if old Zucky Boy and his COO, Sheryl Sandberg, know that this is the talk that's going on out there amongst the youngsters. From the 22nd of September, young adults worn down and worried about the future. So does it seem as if we are on the way to reaching the point where the current state of the fun just isn't cutting it anymore? These CEOs and COOs better get on the stick, 'cause wait until you see what the colleges are doing to help the youngins cope with the rigors of having to come to grips with their malaise. You may want to put some paper down for this one, 'cause you might plots when you read it. From September 21st, 2016, colleges turn to coloring books to de-stress students. How much does it cost to go to these joints? And they're going to give you a coloring book. There you go. Man, oh man, just think of the hundreds of millions of dollars people could have saved on not having to buy computers or phones or paying internet costs. All you had to do was go down to the dollar store and get a coloring book and some crayons. Sure, the NASDAQ would lose a few percentages, but old China would certainly get a boost. So what are you saying, Lem? What's all this mean, huh? That the Earth dwellers are going to start getting some sense and see that the technology is evil? No way am I coming close to suggesting such a thing. And why? Because the prophetic word contained in the living word of Elohim does not foretell such a thing. What I'm saying is this. I'm saying that they are simply getting bored with what they got, and they want that next level. And you know what? Let me tell you what. And now, my dear brothers and sisters, we have reached the point in the video where it's time to really comfort the saints of the Most High. You're gonna love this. Now let's have a look at a passage of scripture that I know many of you are familiar with. Jeremiah, Yirmiyahu, chapter 12, verse 1. Let us read. Righteous are you, O Yahweh, when I complain to you, yet I would plead my case before you. Why does the way of the wicked prosper? Why do all who are treacherous thrive? Dear brothers and sisters, take heart. You see, they only think that they are thriving, and their prosperity is but a thistle that'll blow away like chaff. And you know what? Let me tell you what. They don't always prosper, my friends. Look at what Elohim did last summer to Al Gore's Live Earth projects.
Hey, what happened?
You know what happened, friend. They all got canceled. Every single event. 2 of them with absolutely no credible explanation. And the 3rd was because of terror attacks. But Lem, that's just one series of events. And Al Gore, he's a moron anyway. Well, what about him? What about old Mark Zuckerberg? Is he a moron? It seems that old Mark can do no wrong. He certainly seems to be the perfect subject for the prosperous and thriving wicked from Jeremiah 12:1. Well, let's read a little about one of his most important projects, one that he's invested hundreds of millions of dollars on. Let's read. From Mark's very own Facebook page, October 5th, 2015. I'm excited to announce our first project to deliver internet from space. Ooh. As part of our Internet.org efforts to connect the world, we're partnering with Eutelsat to launch a satellite into orbit that will connect millions of people. Over the last year, Facebook has been exploring ways to use aircraft and satellites to beam internet access down into communities from the sky. To connect people living in remote regions, traditional connectivity infrastructure is often difficult and inefficient. So we need to invent new technologies. There you go. As part of our collaboration with Eutelsat, a new satellite called Amos 6 is going to provide internet coverage to large parts of sub-Saharan Africa. The Amos 6 satellite is under construction now and will launch in 2016 into a geostationary orbit that will cover large parts of the West, East, and Southern Africa. We're going to work with local partners across these regions to help communities begin accessing internet services provided through satellite. This is just one of the innovations we are working on to achieve our mission with Internet.org. Connectivity changes lives and communities. We're going to keep working to connect the entire world, even if that means looking beyond our planet. Planet, yeah, right. Well, his day came, my friends. The day that would begin to usher in a new era for an entire continent. The launch for the Amos 6 satellite, which just happened to be built by Israel, will take place on the 1st of September from Cape Canaveral, Florida. I'm sure Mr. Zuckerberg was so excited, for on August 29th, 2016, 3 days before the launch, did you get that? 3 days before the launch, Mark traveled to a very, very special place to have a meeting with a very, very special person. Looky there. Perhaps Mr. Mark wanted to get a blessing from Jorge for this historic launch. Oh, to have been a fly on the wall of the Vatican on that day. Well, on second thought, the fly would much be better off inside that plastic ice. Well, I'm sure that the Pope gave his blessing to Mr. Zuckerberg, and then more than likely prayed to his God for the success of this epic event. But then again, maybe there was no prayer at all, because you see, Mark Zuckerberg, well, he's an atheist. He has said in his heart, there is no Elohim. Now, as we who love the word know that Elohim says, when a person says in their heart there is no Elohim, that person, according to Elohim, is a fool. And in keeping with the mighty counsel of Elohim, a fool will never, ever prosper.